Ryan, Heather, thank you for introducing us. I'm Parker. I'm here with my friends Tina and Bob Fisher. And when I say friends, when you said close relationship, I guess being invited to their summer party qualifies me for that. And having had tequila at lunch with Bob qualifies me for that too. So this is an interesting. I love these sessions, by the way, and I'm really glad you're here. How many people were really happy when they pulled up and saw the truck for Sweet Carrot parked outside? When I saw that orange truck, I said, "Yep, this is going to be a good day." And how many people are in the room are entrepreneurs? Since we're doing a survey, okay, so a fair amount of you. We hope to, as Ryan said, we'd love to talk to any and all of you if we haven't already, and even if we have, we'd like to talk to you again. So this is an exciting day because I think there are a couple of firsts, one of which is I think this is the first time we've had a husband and wife entrepreneur duo up here on our podium. Does that sound right? Does anybody remember? Yeah, first time. And this is also fun for me because Bob and Tina are not only great entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs, but they're also really active angel investors. And of course, that's really what I do for a living. The definition of my job is to try to get angel investors and entrepreneurs in the same room and see what happens. So when I get with Bob and Tina, we can do that all by ourselves because they're angel investors and entrepreneurs. Okay, next. That joke wasn't very good. Let me tell you. I'm working this. So let me introduce our two speakers today. Tina Fisher is the CEO and co-founder of Modalist, and she's going to tell you more about that in a little bit. It's a multi-vendor fashion e-marketplace. I love the way that sounds, and that's an approved elevator pitch for the company, right? And what they do is they can help their users purchase all kinds of stuff on the internet that they can't from the world's best fashion designers. Some fashion designers who actually decide that they don't want to be bothered with doing their own websites or their own SEO. And at this point, Modalist has attracted shoppers from at least 60 companies or countries, if not more. And before Tina launched Modalist, she spent about a decade running a technology support organization for a Fortune 50 company here in town. We'll let her name that if she wants to. In 2012, Tina, you took one of your first steps into the entrepreneurial pond by forming your first startup called an Italian fashion e-commerce company, L'Italia, and you served as the CEO. And L'Italia provided, I think, probably an invaluable course to you in all the facets of online retail, and probably you'll tell us inspired you to start Modalist as a next step. Also, what's fun for me today is that I am a member of the Angel Capital Association, as are all the members of the Ohio Tech Angel Fund. And that's the trade organization for angel investors in North America. So ACA, as we call it, recently released the first in-depth report on the demographics and the investing activities of individual angel investors in America. It's called The American Angel. And I'm happy to tell you that Tina was included in this report for her perspectives both as an entrepreneur and angel investor. So her picture is in this, and her story is in this report. And you've also gotten good press lately in the Dispatch and Columbus CEO magazine. Tina, you're on the boards of several nonprofits, and of course you're an active member of investment groups like X Squared Angels and the Ohio Tech Angels and the aforementioned Angel Capital Association. Did we miss anything?
That's all good.
That's a lot. Okay, more about Bob Fisher. He is the co-founder of Modalist and its chairperson. And Bob's a successful full-cycle entrepreneur, I love that term, whose experience includes over 20 years as president and CEO of Foresight Corporation. It's a technology company, Bob, that you founded and ran and eventually sold to Tibco Software. So successful exit, beware. So in that process, you raised both angel money and venture capital money and maybe even some debt along the way. And you pretty much experienced every phase of the evolution from cradle to grave or from concept through successful exit, as we say in the walls of this building. And you've been an angel investor since 2011. By the way, one of the things that the American Angel Report tells us is that the greatest single category from which angel investors are drawn is the category of successful entrepreneurs. So if you've risked your own time and money in a business and been successful, you're more likely to want to become an angel investor. And selfishly, maybe not so selfishly, that's what we want for all of you in the room who are entrepreneurs. We want you to grow your company, sell it, make enough money to start another company, but also to invest in other companies around the area who your friends and peers have started. And it happens. There are people in this room who I could call on to give their stories. And Bob is really an exemplar of that. And you're also a member of Ohio Tech Angel Fund, X Squared Angels, and the Angel Capital Association. You're also serving on the boards of a couple Ohio-based companies that have gotten angel money, and you're an advisor to early-stage firms. You've got an AB degree cum laude in mathematics and a second degree from Washington University, also as known as WashU, right? And in St. Louis. And you've also got a master's degree in computer science from the Ohio State University. So we've got a couple of very accomplished people up here on stage, both from a background and life experience point of view. So here we go with the questions. Are you ready? Ready for some? And we're also going to leave plenty of time at the end here for your questions. So Tina, let's start out, because we'd all like to hear more about Modalist than what I just explained. Could tell us more about it and how you got it started, please.
First of all, thank you, Parker, for the opportunity to be here. We appreciate working with you today and the rest of Rev 1. We've always loved having the opportunity to be a part of Rev 1 as angel investors through OTAF and through X Squared Angels as well. So we appreciate being here. And I also want to take a moment first and acknowledge our other managing partner who is with us today, and that's Suresh Pillai. Suresh, can you stand up? Suresh, thank you for being here. Suresh is one of our other managing partners of the company. And I also want to just quickly acknowledge Dana Ford and her organization. She does our social media marketing, and Dana's in the back of the room with her sister Carly. So thank you for being here as well. So let me share with you about Modalist. Modalist is a global multi-vendor e-marketplace for designer fashion. We're an aggregator, and what that means is we bring many retail partners together under the Modalist technology platform. So our customers are the retailers. Names many of you know. We have the likes of Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, Tory Burch, Under Armour are our customers. So we have over 350 retail partners and growing. We have over 5,000 designer brands and over 500,000 products on the site. So how Modalist makes money? We make money, so every time a shopper comes to the site and they purchase something through the Modalist platform, we get paid a commission from the retailer. So we then, so the retailer is our customer. So let me give you an example. A shopper may come to our site, and let's say they're looking for a blue jacket. We're a search engine as well. So they type in blue jacket in our search engine, and they can then find that blue jacket that they like from the likes of, again, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue. So our shoppers say to us, we love the fact that we can shop multiple sites all in one place. We don't have to go to 20 different online websites to find what we're looking for. So we've had great feedback from that. So let me just also talk about some of our recent wins. Again, in 2017, our focus has been on building out the platform. It's a technology platform. And that being said, we pull the feeds from our retailers onto our site. And so we have whatever the retailer has as far as product feed, we have as well. That's why we have such a large database of products. And so we pull those onto our feed. So our shoppers have the ability to shop all of those brands all at one place. And so one of the things that we've recently done is we've launched a couple of really great sales initiatives as well. First of all, we understand the importance of bringing value to our retailers. And one of the ways that we do that is we have launched a cashback program for our shopper. It's free to join Modalist. And so you can, as a shopper, sign up for free and shop and find what you love and purchase it. And when you do that, let me give you an example. Let's say you found that blue jacket and it happened to be on Modalist, but through the retailer Nordstrom. So you're going to get cash back from Modalist if you buy that jacket. You're going to get Nordstrom Rewards points. If you're a Nordstrom shopper, you know how great that is. You're going to get free shipping from Nordstrom, and if you have another promo code, you can use that as well. And then you're also going to probably be using a points credit card or a cashback credit card. So we want you to combine all of those opportunities to get the best price that you can. So one of the things that we do, because we're a technology platform, is once you find that blue jacket that you want and you click through to purchase it, we're redirecting you to the retailer. And so what happens is that retailer is filling that order. So we do not hold inventory. We do not do credit card processing, and we do not do order fulfillment. All that happens through our retail partner, okay? So keeping that in mind, the cashback program for our shopper has been very well received. Our shoppers tell us how much they love that, along with the ability for them to shop multiple sites at one time. And we know cashback offers influence consumer behavior. They buy more, and they also buy higher priced items. So that is quite interesting when you bring a cashback model to your business. So we also have recently launched 2 other sales initiatives. Because of the cashback model, we've also launched what's called Stylist Rewards for personal stylist. So an average order from a shopper may be around $200 on the Modalist site. So if a stylist is shopping for her clients, she's more than likely spending $3,000 to $5,000 an order. And let me give you an example. I met with a personal stylist. I do a tremendous amount of networking. And I happened to meet with a personal stylist who is in the Midwest. And she said, Tina, I spend about $1 million a year online shopping for my clients. And she said, it's a win-win. When I shop through Modalist, I am now getting $30,000 to $50,000 in cash back annually. She's taking that money as another revenue channel for her business and maybe hiring another personal stylist or choosing what else she wants to do technology-wise for her company. So we're bringing value not only to our retailers, but to our shoppers, the personal stylist as well. We also have another sales initiative that's just launching, and that is called Modalist Social Runway. It's for digital influencers. Digital influencers industry today is a $1.2 billion industry, going to just $4.2 billion in just the next 2 years. So it's a very rapidly growing marketplace for digital influencers and bloggers and vloggers as well. So you're going to have some of that on YouTube as well, so you'll have some video. And those particular marketplaces, like for the bloggers, they want to monetize their business. So it's another sales channel for us to bring traffic and revenue to Modalist.
Wow. How about that, huh? So when I hear an entrepreneur talk about her business, I'm thinking about it from a couple different perspectives. So there's, as you said, there's a lot to like. If I'm looking for that elusive blue coat, this sounds like a lot better way to do that than schlepping up and down the halls at Polaris, or God forbid this time of year, Easton, and I get some money back, and there's a lot for the retailers to like, because you're bringing me, if I'm a retailer, you're bringing me to client, and if I'm a personal shopper, what's the official term for that? The fashion stylist?
Yes.
Fashion. If I'm a fashion stylist and I'm helping somebody else assemble her wardrobe, there's also something in it for me. So
That's right.
Excellent. Do you have the man couch anywhere of like it's a virtual man couch on the site anywhere?
There's a section for men. I don't know about a couch, but there's a section for men.
Man, I got to work on my
We
humor.
do have men shoppers as well,
Okay,
and we have men bloggers.
So talking about the theme of the kind of eclectic approach that you bring to this. So when you, what have you learned about making your company even better, based on the probably hundreds of pitches you've seen from other companies that are looking for angel money?
I have to tell you, I'm very proud to be an angel investor for many different reasons. One, I get to see a tremendous amount of deal flow. And that deal flow could be an AI company, it could be a beauty analytics company. So we get to see a tremendous amount of great things that entrepreneurs are doing. And so I love that, but it also has taught me a great deal about being an entrepreneur and a CEO. I know what the investor's looking for. I'm looking for the same thing in my company, and I'm making sure that I'm bringing that to the industry. And when I look at the value proposition that we bring, I look at it from the eye of an investor as well, because I am one, but I'm also looking at it from the eye of an entrepreneur. So,
Jump in?
yes, absolutely.
Hello? I guess not. Can I borrow that for a second?
This thing on? This thing
Hello?
on?
It's green, I don't know. Anyway, it turns out the checklist that we use as investors, where we say, how about the market size? What about the differentiators? Is there a competitor that can eat your lunch? So all these questions turn out to be a useful set of questions to ask yourself when you are starting a company. It's pretty much the same screening. So I think the structure and formality with which we approach that as angel investors is an enormous asset to entrepreneurs.
And interestingly enough, we have to check ourselves sometimes because we'll be thinking so much like an entrepreneur or like an angel investor as we look at what we're doing for our company. And sometimes we have to step back and say, we have to look at this as an entrepreneur. But you can't help it. As being an angel investor, all of that's at the forefront of your thought as well.
It's fun for me to be in meetings, angel meetings with the two of them and listen to the questions that they ask the entrepreneurs, and I can always hear a little bit of both learning and maybe a little bit of instruction in some of your questions to entrepreneurs. So Bob, let me ask you a couple questions. The foresight is part of your legacy. It's in the past. We mostly want to look forward today, but can you just tell us a little bit about foresight and the story about how you got it from the beginnings to a successful exit? And was there a pivot along the way or two?
So do you want the 1 hour version or the long version?
How about the long version, please?
No,
We got plenty of food back there.
Yes, we do. I'll try and make this succinct. Foresight was a company I co-founded in 1990. Back then, the main problem we had was dinosaur tax, that kind of thing. But it was in the business of electronic data interchange, EDI, which is still around today. That was an aspiring up-and-coming technology in those days. EDI, in its simplest form, is a structured format for business documents. Business documents could be purchase orders or invoices. They could be bills of lading, material releases, claims, payments. It spans all industries. It was a true horizontal. We started out making productivity tools for EDI, and we added to the suite over time. And over a period of years, that suite grew. We added other products. Some really took off, some long gone. But we built on that. The thing that eventually, and I'm going to skip, this was a 20-year evolution, so skipping far into it. And we did raise what today we would call angel capital. That term wasn't popular back then. And we later raised venture capital. That term is still unpopular. No. Kidding.
Check, please.
But I should have asked that. Anyway, what eventually drove us to the exit was the EDI standards that were for machine-to-machine business processes were adopted for the HIPAA standards when the government issued those. And most of us know HIPAA from those delightful forms you get at your doctor and dentist's office that go on for pages and tell you what your rights are and your information and so on. There's a whole different side to HIPAA between the healthcare provider and the healthcare payer, mainly the insurance company. And when the mandate came out of the government and they said you have this long to comply with HIPAA, we were the first kids on the block to actually have tools to show you that you were or were not in compliance with HIPAA. So that moved us sharply. We retained the horizontal EDI business, but the healthcare business took off as a separate revenue stream, and in time, we became the go-to vendor for healthcare payers. These are the Aetnas and Anthems of the world that wanted what became a full dashboard, and they could see trends, and they could see what is the source of our errors, and they can slice and dice the data any way they wanted to. And it gave them information about the healthcare claims coming in that they never had before. I mean, this industry was in the green bar paper days, if any of you remember that. Healthcare was what ultimately led us from going as a software company, from a company that was licensing software in those days, an early $10,000, $20,000 license fee. Later on, we had what is now cloud computing. But then it led to these huge payer systems where the price tag was $500,000 to $1 million. And that ultimately led to much higher growth and eventually an unsolicited offer from TIBCO, which led to a successful exit.
Well, that's a great story, and it sounds like it had some, not some twists and turns along the way, but no major pivots. You didn't go from EDI software to slushy machines and then back to healthcare software.
If we're using the definition of pivot to mean creative uses and buildings on what we already have, we did lots of those.
Yes, okay.
If we're using it to mean dump everything you've done and start a new business, we didn't do that kind of pivot.
That's good. Well, that usually doesn't work. So, I'll ask Bob. I'll ask you the kind of the reverse of the question I asked Tina a few minutes ago. I asked Tina. I think I asked, how has being an angel investor influenced you as an entrepreneur? Bob, the flip of that is, how has being a successful entrepreneur influenced your thinking as an angel investor?
I think I know what we want to see in an entrepreneur because I've been in that role. So some of the things are, when you're screening companies for investment, what is this individual, the CEO, what is their team, what are these people there for? And you know, these days, startups and entrepreneurs, we see great headlines of, it seems to be the pathway to instant and massive wealth. Well, those are the headlines. Those are the big companies that we all know the names. But I would say, if you, the entrepreneurs in the group, if you are in business and your primary objective really is to get rich or to get rich quick, you're probably not going to succeed because, and you may not believe me on this, you won't go the distance. You have to start with a passion. You have to start with a belief. You have to start with something you want to prove. I know if I do this, I can solve that problem. I know that this industry will react to this kind of offering. That kind of passion driving you is really what gets you there. The money thing, I know it sounds cliche, it kind of follows. It's there, but it can't be the primary driver.
So you're looking for someone with passion. And I'll pile on and say, when I ask an entrepreneur what she really hopes to most accomplish with her company, and she says, I just want to make a lot of money, I say to myself, you know, have you considered gun sales? Because you could do that if you don't really care if you don't have a passion for anything but money. Or now I could say Bitcoin, right? Yeah. Ooh, no, sorry. That's a whole other topic. Okay, Tina, let's go back to you. When you started your business, and I had a little bit of a ringside seat on this, tell us about some of the challenges you faced in getting Modalist started, including convincing me that this would be a really great investment for OTAF.
I'm still working on that, Parker.
I hope you will.
Yes. So it's interesting when you build a company, and you know, this is my second opportunity being an entrepreneur, and Parker talked about that I built my first e-commerce company called L'Italia, and I did that as a side gig. I was working in the pharmaceutical industry. I had staff all over the country, and I was working in acute care. And Bob and I happened to be in Italy, and one fun story associated with that is my friends were saying, oh, you're going to Italy, you're going to Florence, please take my money, bring me back a handbag, bring me back Murano glass jewelry. And I thought, oh my goodness, Bob's buying us extra suitcases while we're there. And he's like, I can't believe we're doing this. So the fun part of that is, again, I was working in healthcare at the time, and on the plane ride back from Italy, my mother's side of the family's from Italy, so it was the craftsmanship of the products that spoke to me. I loved the Italian leather goods, the Murano glass jewelry, and so on. And I also loved the generational craftsmanship. So I came back and I started L'Italia as a side gig, and I had an e-commerce site built, and I really took a look at what was happening within the e-commerce marketplace. And first of all, many of you know, and you're hearing every day, that online sales are just absolutely skyrocketing. So it's a good time to be CEO and founder of Modalist. So I took the knowledge that I built with L'Italia, and I took basically a deep dive of what was going on, and looked at what value proposition could I bring. I knew I wanted to do something more and bring more value than I did with my small e-commerce company. But it gave me the wherewithal of how to build out a company like L'Italia. It's a technology company, and we're not holding inventory again, and we're not creating orders, and we're not handling returns. We are a sales channel for the marketer, and building out L'Italia gave me the insight and the forethought of how to bring different value to the marketplace for the retailer.
Well, that's great. So you saw the challenges in your first business model and said, I'm going to take the
Right.
stuff that I liked and I'm going to do more of that and less of the stuff that I didn't like.
Right, let me just share with you, in today's marketplace, when you can have a technology company and a sales channel where you don't have to hold inventory, it's a win right there, just by not handling inventory.
So as you built your company, you got each other to talk to about the company, and we'll get into that a little bit more. So you're each other's advisors and mentors, probably primary advisors, and I really admire the way at least that I perceive, that works for the two of you. Who else do you turn to for advice and mentorship, Tina, when you are facing big problems with your, or small problems with your company?
First, we look to our managing team. Bob is an insightful entrepreneur, and he helps me on many occasions, and we have a great relationship where we can just talk about many things together, and so and very open dialogue about what's happening with the company. And Suresh Pillai, our CTO, the three of us sit down together. If we're bringing something new to the marketplace, we take a look at that together. We research it together, but we also, are lucky enough to have a vast amount of expert advisors who we reach out to. And so in our pitch deck, of course, we have a list of expert advisors. But I will tell you what's most important is not just that you have it on paper, is that you utilize those resources when you need to. So we are lucky enough to have peers within the angel community and within the entrepreneurial community for us to reach out to on a continual basis. So if it's something about SEO, if it's something about e-commerce, we have the opportunity to utilize our expert advisors on a continual basis, which has been extremely helpful.
Does that mean that you've formed a formal advisory board, or you just have an informal group of advisors that is flexible depending on your needs?
Right now, it's informal, and that's worked for us. When we need to pick up the phone, when we need to meet for coffee, we do that. And then, Bob, do you want to give any other feedback?
No, I mean, that's it. And as Tina said earlier, she's a consummate networker, and that helps. So it's having the diversity of the expertise that you need and knowing where to find the expertise that you need to find. All right, I'm going to start that sentence over. No, go ahead.
At least we didn't end it in a preposition. I mean, that would be, my English teacher would be horrified.
Remember, he's an English major.
He is, that's what I've got to. So, Bob, I'm going to ask the question that may be on the minds of some, if not most of the people in this room. What is it like to work with your spouse?
It's a bowl of cherries. Actually, it's an interesting question. We were talking, Parker and I were on the phone earlier. We're seeing a lot more, first of all, we're seeing a lot more women come into the ecosystem here, which is great. And we are seeing on the investor side, I'm seeing more couples, I'm seeing more siblings, and Parker and I were talking earlier, and we cited some examples of those. In terms of married couple in particular working together, and Tina and I specifically, the key is the individuals, of course. Are your interests ones that fit each other? Are your expertise, do they fit? We're very fortunate because we have highly complementary skills. Tina knows fashion, she knows that industry, she has the vision of where she wants the company to go. Suresh has incredibly deep, and his team has an incredibly deep e-commerce and technical experience, and the technology gets fairly deep and arcane in this field. It's quite, the challenge of synchronizing hundreds of feeds from hundreds of retailers and keeping that in sync. So it's a formidable challenge. My expertise, because I am full cycle, it's kind of like unicycle, but it's because I've been through all aspects of it, I can see around corners. I know what's coming next, and when we get to the next topic, how do we build staff? How do we put together sales compensation plans? How do we put all the things that we know are coming up? I've been there, so I'm kind of the business backstop for all of that.
Tina, was there a moment where you remember saying to Bob, let's do this together? I mean, how did it work? It was your idea, and obviously you and Bob are talking about everything all the time. Was there a moment where when you said to yourself, I've got to have Bob be part of this, or did it happen some other way?
Absolutely. I saw the vision of what I wanted to create, and I knew it was a big play and a huge technology platform. And I also know the competitors in the space and the size of their companies, and I knew I was taking a big bite, if you will. And so Bob and I work very well together in every aspect of our life as it relates to being angel investors. We both mentor startups, and us working together just felt like the right thing to do. I was already sharing a glass of wine with him at the end of the day, talking to him about everything I was doing.
That's how she did it.
And the vision of the company. So, and when we went in different directions in the early stages of me having the L'Italia e-commerce company and then transitioning to Modalist, it made sense for Bob to be a part of the company in so many different aspects. I'm already picking his brain anyway, and that works for us. And so he has been invaluable to the company, and it's been great to work with him as a partner in life and in the company.
Thank you. I just had to face the fact that I flunked retirement.
Well, we can debate that. It doesn't look to me like you're flunking, but Tina, we talked earlier about a study called The American Angel, and one of the other big ahas for me coming out of that, shouldn't have been, coming out of that report, was the fact that women are now a much higher percentage of angel investors than they were 10 years ago, because the study looked at changes over time. So what do you, as a female and an angel investor, what do you see as some of the roadblocks or impediments towards more women becoming angel investors?
It's a great question, Parker, and I have to share with you that in reviewing the ACA report on the American Angel, currently the American Angel is split up between 77.9% men and 22.1% women. And in being part of ACA, they have an annual meeting every year, and Bob and I attend that meeting. And I have to share with you that year after year, in the most recent years, we are seeing more and more women at the table. And I love that. It's been recognized. And the way that we bring more women investors to the table is by supporting them as entrepreneurs first, because more than likely they're going to get a great exit and they're going to end up supporting the angel entrepreneurial community. And one of the things we like about doing that is because Bob and I are not just angel investors where we write a check. In many cases, we're mentoring those startups as well. And Laura Zotter, I see you back there. And so Columbus Startup Week, you can depend on me to be there as a mentor again this year. So it's one of the things that we like doing. We love not only writing the check to support the entrepreneur, but also the opportunity to mentor them. And so coming back to what it takes to bring more women into the angel ecosystem, it is bringing women to the dance. Invite them. As an angel investor, for all of you who are here today that are angel investors, make sure that you're inviting more women to the table.
Can I add something to that? The American Angel report done by Rev 1 with ACA, it's a great report, not just because Tina's interview's in there, but it is otherwise. And one of the questions that was formulated, and this was interesting, was the relative importance that of a female lead when looking at a given company. And males rated that, they were agnostic. They said it's neither good or bad. Females overwhelmingly said that it was very important. So to be frank, when you ask the question, what are the barriers are the way things have been. What's changing is women are helping women, especially, and that's bringing them into the entire ecosystem.
Well, I think that's a good segue into my next unplanned question, but you'll be able to handle it easily. Tell us a little, we've mentioned X Squared Angels a couple of times in the introductions, but we haven't talked much about it. Tell everybody about X Squared Angels and about how they're accomplishing the goal that you just mentioned, Bob.
Okay.
Tina, for you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Parker. X Squared Angels, Bob and I are both founding members of X Squared Angels, and X Squared Angels is a group of angel investors that focus on women-led companies. It meets here at Rev 1, and we focus on women-led companies throughout the entire country. So we can be pitched by a company in California, a company in New York City, et cetera. And so Bob, do you want to give feedback?
It has a different charter or envelope than, for example, Ohio Tech Angels, which is a fund. X Squared Angels is a group. The fund, the Ohio Tech Angels Fund, focuses on Ohio and building the community, the Ohio community. X Squared Angels focuses on women-led companies, and we, X Squared Angels, invest across the country. And we've had a lot of very interesting plays, a lot of ones that are very different than you would see in OTAF, for example. They're different charters. Very interesting. There are some technical differences, unlike a fund where you've invested in it and you vote as a group whether to make a specific investment. With X Squared, it's all individual. You make an individual decision to invest in a specific company. And Carol Clark is the original founder of X Squared, and we were happy to be with it from the early days.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, I think, do we want to end at 1:45? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I want to do questions.
At 1:45, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, because the timing's great, because I'm pretty much getting to the bottom of the barrel here, the questions. So when I think of a business that serves the retail industry, I think about the seasonality in the retail industry. I mean, as if I'm not correct, 40 or 50% of the revenues of a given retailer come within that 6-week period between Black Friday, is it called, or right after Thanksgiving and the week after New Year's. So is there seasonality in your business? And if so, what do you do in the off-season?
Well, that's a great question. And because we are an aggregator and a technology platform, and the fact that we bring many retailers together under the Modalist umbrella, if you will, then we don't see the same seasonal aspects as you would for a swimmer company or a boot company or a glove company, where they are going to see their sales specifically in the winter months. Because we're an aggregator and we have over 500,000 products plus on the site, people are buying for resort wear right now. They're getting ready to go on vacation. So you're seeing some swimsuits being purchased, but you're also seeing jewelry purchased, and you're seeing workout clothes purchased. And so you get the vast majority of everything because you're an aggregator. So that saves us from, and insulates us, if you will, from that type of seasonality.
I agree, we're less sensitive to it. But let there be no implication, what do you do in the off-season, that there's any downtime involved.
Okay.
Right, let me give you just another insight there. In 2017, we built the platform. In 2018, our focus is on scaling the platform, so we have not had downtime.
One last question from me, and then we'll get to your questions. I hope you've got some. This is for both of you. When you think about your business, what keeps you up at night?
I would say, as the CEO, it's the excitement of taking the company from absolute startup and seeing that fruition come to insight, and then now taking the company to a little bit different direction of going from startup to scaling the company and actually building a brand. So it's more excitement than it is nerves in any other way. It's all about bringing what your vision is to fruition. And also, we're a technology platform, so we're constantly bringing new feeds in from the retailers. And where early stage that was a bit challenging, we have built effectiveness into that process, and now that's what was a challenge at the early stage is now not a challenge as well.
We also talked earlier about some of the characteristics that you want to see as an investor or that you need to have as an entrepreneur. One of those is agility, and I'm afraid occasional insomnia is a side effect of agility.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a great glass half full answer to that question, which I really appreciate, because other people in this situation would say, oh, I'm worried about hiring the right people, I can't hang on to, so thank you, that's very inspirational. So now it's your time to ask questions, and
Hello?
And we've got at least one person walking around, 2 people walking around the microphone, and I'll catch the people up front here. So do we have any questions from the audience, please?
Can you explain a little bit more about the digital influencers in that particular channel? I didn't quite get the stream on that.
Sure. So we have built out a separate URL and database for the digital influencers. So what happens is they come to our site and they sign up, if you will. And then we approve them if they have the influence at the level that we're looking for. Does that help you? So additionally, they can clip our products and put them on their blog or their social media feed. And so there's a cookie that goes through the entire process. So if somebody is a follower of that blogger and they click through, let's say it's a leather Moda jacket, and they want to buy that, they click through and they actually end up on the Modalist site and they make that conversion with the retailer. Then we pay that blogger a commission on the sale.
One thing we probably should have mentioned from the get-go, this whole business, but whether it's cash back to the consumer shopper or whether it's a payment to the blogger or other type of digital influencer, it's all automated. They don't have to do anything. It's all, when Tina says they can clip it from our site, we have a special tools that we've developed strictly available to our digital influencers that allows them, they can post it to social media, they can put it in a blog, they can even do it through email. It carries all the encoded information necessary to make it shoppable so that when their follower or reader clicks on it, it automatically goes through, they can't see it happening, it's going through Modalist, it's going to the retailer, it's carrying the information so the commission comes to us and we can compensate the blogger.
If you'll trust me, people will appreciate the microphone.
Hi. Oh, jeez. I have a question. It seems like you have a B2B and B2C market, so you have a dual-sided market. Mm-hmm. I've worked in that space multiple times, and I wondered how you found it with Modalist, and who handles the customer service on the B2C side. Does that come to Modalist, or your companies that you're selling for? Thanks.
It's a great question. And the answer is it depends. So my background in the healthcare marketplace was certainly in a service-based part of the technology industry of the company. So I have a very strong customer service value in how we take care of our customers. So if the issue or the question for the shopper is, when am I going to get this item, that would be coming from the retailer because the retailer is shipping the item. And if it has to do with something within our technology, then we would handle it through our customer service.
I saw another question up here. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm just curious. What were some of the challenges setting up the relationship with the vendors, with Nordstrom's and Neiman Marcus? Did there have to be a commitment on their part at all?
Yeah, but do you want
Can I jump on that one? Yeah.
Question?
There's a structure that's been in place for over 10 years. You may have heard of called the affiliate network. These are intermediaries that try to make sales channels. They do make sales channels available to the retailers. And because of that, what we're able to utilize from that affiliate network is the fact that the things like the contractual terms and so on are published in the affiliate network by the retailers and are available for our use. Tremendous time saver for us. We did not have to negotiate one-on-one. The only challenge we had in the sign-up was early days before the site was launched. It's hard to attract some of these brands that Tina talked about, or some of the major retailers like Neiman Marcus, Farfetch, Nordstrom. They're very selective. It wasn't until we got the current site launched a year ago that they could see. What they do is they look at your statistics, they look at your site, and they say, is this the caliber? Does this preserve the cachet that we want? And that's screening. When we first started, that we were not always getting accepted. Now, Tina can curate from a list of thousands of retailers and pick the one she wants because we can land any of them.
Right, and let me give you some additional feedback on that. We're not only now being accepted by, for the most part, all the luxury retailers that we want, which is fabulous, but they're also now coming to us and giving us opportunities for private offers. And what that means is, let's say a retailer has a standard commission rate that they give us, okay? We're driving more traffic to that particular retailer, so they turn around to us and say, we're bringing value to them. So they say to us, we're now going to give you X amount more commission for this time frame, and sometimes for particular categories. Maybe it's all their luxury brands, all their designer brands for the next 30 or 60 days. So now we've got amped up commission coming to us, and our margin is higher. And so the more traffic we bring to the retailers and the more value that we add, the better our relationship is with them and the more that they give us.
So I think the lesson I heard there was that retailers are looking for entrepreneurs to help them with sales. They've got this channel, and they're pretty accessible, and you have to deliver the goods, right? You can get in the door pretty easily, but to stay in the door, you've got to
Right.
really deliver the results.
It's actually interesting because you may not have guessed this, but the market is underserved by the number of aggregators out there. There just aren't that many of us. It's partly because of the technical challenges involved. And what we see right now is there are 2 or 3 giants, and then it's like kind of empty, which is very intriguing to us. So at this point, competing with the other, retail has never been a winner-take-all market, right? If Parker, if you buy an ERP system from me tomorrow, you're not going to buy one from Tina on Friday. But if you shop on my site tomorrow, you might shop on her site on Friday. But to save you time, it's the same site. Okay.
Hi, I'm curious about the underlying technology as a platform that would extend beyond fashion. So I'm not sure about everybody else, but when I shop online, there's an inherent distrust of the quality or the validity of what I'm buying, especially on Amazon. So I've experienced counterfeiting on Amazon before, where if you don't look closely at who's selling it, they may not be an authorized reseller. In my case, it was actually 2 fake items. But do you see this platform, because what you're describing is establishing trust between quality products and reaching customers that appreciate that quality.
Right.
Is there a way to extend that to, like in my case, I like to buy my electronics from B&H Photo. They're an authorized reseller, there's a good return policy, there's no tax. But do you see something like that where, like right now I'm trying to outfit my new MacBook Pro with the Thunderbolt 3, and I'm buying product after product that doesn't work, or there's the display doesn't work. So like that one space where now there's a disparate kind of fragmented market space, I want to find products that I can trust that are good, that I can guarantee are legitimate. Am I overextending what your technology could be used for?
You're addressing a problem that doesn't enter our ecosystem primarily because we are selecting. Remember, we're redirecting. When you pick Nordstrom product on us, you're actually checking out at Nordstrom. Authenticity is not a problem, and we gravitate to the high-end fashion brands. We have nominally priced stuff as well, Under Armour and so on. But we want it to really be a magnet for the high-end fashion buyers around the world, and we're getting a lot of that. A lot of business from Japan.
Right, and we have sales from over 66 countries and shoppers from over 66 countries. So, we feel very proud to have that in such an early stage. But we knew early on that this brand was always built to scale.
But it is not, it's differentiated from commodity consumer goods, things you would buy on Amazon. A lot of these high-end designer brands don't want to be on Amazon. They have to protect their cachet. So there are a small number of aggregators that handle them in the way they want to be handled.
If I may offer some perspective, I am a personal wardrobe stylist. I work with private clients, mostly women, some men. And if you all know that retail is fairly unhealthy, particularly locally. If you go to a store, you cannot find things typically for yourself, or I have difficulty finding everything I need for a client. So not just an online capability, but being able to search for specifics is of value to me. Some boutiques will offer like a little bit of a discount for me that I can pass on to my client, but I think this is extremely relevant for stylists who are looking for something that they cannot find in a store, or to your point, they may not trust some other retailer. I know the brands, or most of the brands, so I am going to search for something, whether it be a pair of boots or a $3,000 wardrobe. I know I can get an aggregate to fulfill a lot of that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for coming and speaking to us today. Thank you for sharing your insights. I have a question regarding, and this might not apply because I'm not quite sure what you mentioned that you don't actually process payments on your website.
Correct.
So I realize this might not be a very relevant question. My question was regarding your philosophy about people circumventing your website, trying to cut out the middleman and getting, going straight to Nordstrom and purchasing something from them. If you have any insights or thoughts on this, I would love to hear.
You're saying two points to this. You're bypassing Modalist and going directly to Nordstrom.
That's
that
right.
would be disadvantageous to you if you hadn't already been to Modalist, because the thing that we add that as a shopper is visible to you is cash back outside of what you will get from them. So the other thing that's interesting, and this is getting a little bit in the weeds, but if you'd been through Modalist and you happen to go over to Nordstrom, and the next day you go directly to Nordstrom, we'll still get credit and you'll still get your cash back because of the cookie. There's a cookie window there, usually 14 to 30 days.
Right.
That makes sense.
And just another thing, just in case we missed it. Let's say you found, again, let's just say the blue jacket on Modalist, and it's a Nordstrom jacket or it's a Saks jacket. We're directing you then to the Nordstrom, let's say Nordstrom's website. Let's say you bought 3 or 4 other things while you were on that site. You're getting cash back from Modalist for every item you purchase while you're on that retailer's site. And maybe you didn't buy the blue jacket, but you bought 3 different things. We're still giving you cash back for anything you purchased, even if you didn't purchase the item that you transitioned from Modalist to the retailer.
Okay, we've got time for one more question, and I know that Tina and Bob were planning on hanging around for a minute after this.
Hi, I'm Ngazi. As an angel investor, I know there's great qualities in entrepreneurs. What are the top 3 qualities that you look for before investing?
Great question. So first of all, I would say, we always have our entrepreneur hat on and our angel investing hat on. And I think one of the things we look for is the management team. And I think it's also better not to be a solo entrepreneur when you're looking for investment, because the angel investor is looking for a team, because depending on your company, you're going to need people around you to help build that team, build that company. So that's important. Also, I think tenacity and the ability to be agile, to be able to go with the punches, if you will, because there's always going to be ups and downs in everything you face as an entrepreneur. 1 minute of the day, you may be really excited about something that you were able to accomplish, and 20 minutes later, you've got an issue that you didn't certainly anticipate facing, and you've got to be able to take the ups and downs. So it's that personality of the entrepreneur that angel investors look for. And Bob, I'll let you add to that.
I love the fact that you limit us to 3. That really makes it hard. What comes to the top of mind is relevant skill set, agility, and motivation.
Knowledge of the industry. They need to know
That's
the
4.
industry that they're in. All right. We could go on.
Good question. Thank you.
So Tina and Bob have said that they will hang around after this to answer. I know you guys still had questions. I will also be in the back at that big white table back there for anyone that would like to have a tour. And I want to invite everyone to join us in March. So save the date for our March Founders Story. And we'll be kicking off, like I said earlier, bringing in our newest investments and giving them a platform to speak about the exciting things happening in our startup community. So thank you again all for coming out, and a special thank you to Tina and Bob. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.